Aumatakwepe, and Batuwaste. Hello, my relatives. Today is a good day, except for the United States of America. Y'all are going to have to bear with me, but we're in big trouble, as you know, and as I've stated over and over again. I want to talk about Obama, the House Negro. Here's just a few of what he's done to you and the world. He signed the National Defense Authorization Act, authorizing indefinite detention of U.S. citizens without a hearing. Just grab you off the streets and you disappear. Reneged on promises to close Guantanamo Bay. He expanded executive authority to include assassinations of U.S. citizens anywhere in the world without a hearing. Without a hearing. Waged war on Libya without congressional approval, just like former presidents. Started covert drone wars in Yemen, the Djibouti, I hope I'm saying that right, Somalia, Iran, without congressional approval. That's mandated, man. Acts of war are mandated in the Constitution. In the Constitution. Escalated the proxy war in Somalia. Escalated the CIA drone war in Pakistan. And he signed into law legislation that authorizes the use of drones within the United States against us, U.S. citizens. Obama has maintained an enormous mercenary U.S. presence in Iraq, even after ending the war. You realize he has a mercenary army, that's private army, paid by corporations. There are more private army personnel, over 100,000 in Afghanistan. There's only 90,000 troops. Only 90,000 troops. There's still almost 100,000 mercenaries, private army, left in Iraq. Sharply escalated the war in Afghanistan since he's been president. Increased the use of secret evidence and secret courts, FISA, the Foreign Intelligence Security Act. He's increased these secret violations. When it comes to U.S. counterterrorism policy, there has been almost no substantive change from the Bush to the Obama administration. In fact, my sources within the CIA and the Special Operations community tell me that if there is any change, it is that President Obama is hitting harder and in more countries than President Bush. The Obama administration is expanding covert actions of the military and the number of countries where U.S. Special Forces are operating. The Obama administration has taken the Bush-era doctrine that the world is a battlefield and run with it and widened its scope. Under the Bush administration, U.S. Special Forces were operating in 60 countries. Under President Obama, they are now in 75 nations. This is the congressional testimony of Jeremy Scahill on the 9th of December 2010 before the House Judiciary Committee. he signed the USA Patriot Act as an extension. Instead of now it just being an extension, he signed it into law. Now it doesn't have a period of when it goes out. It's law. You should be very, very, very scared. Approved the Justice Department prosecution of environmental, anarchist, and animal rights groups as domestic terrorists under the USA Patriot Act using secret investigations. If you're an environmentalist, man, think about it. Man, if you believe in the classic anarchist beliefs, you can go to jail. You can disappear. If you believe in animal rights, you can disappear. He continued and has continued the Bush warrantless wiretap program, and he gave immunity to telecom companies that collaborated. Remember during his election cycle campaign? Well, that's when he did it. When he was still a senator, he voted for it. Expanded use of secret national security letters for domestic investigations by the FBI and the CIA. Continued Bush's extraordinary rendition program of torture. Obama's identical use of Bush's administration's use of state secrets defense to prevent war crimes and their prosecutions within the United States protected the war criminals of the Bush administration and prior. Obama's persecution of WikiLeaks and the prosecution of Bradley Manning, no different than the Nixon-Kissinger era concerning Daniel Ellsberg. Obama has the proposal before Congress to gut the Freedom of Information Act. To get rid of it. The Freedom of Information Act. Freedom being the operative word here. Sold $30 billion of weapons to the dictatorship in Saudi Arabia. And that's just recently. Not counting before. Signed an agreement for 7 military bases in Colombia. Touted nuclear power even after the disaster in Japan. You know, they're opening 7 more nuclear plants in the United States. But let's look at the 7 military bases in Colombia. Why? You know, the more the military, the more the enhancement of the military-industrial complex, and the less freedoms we have. He opened the oceans up to deep-water oil drilling even after the BP disaster and the other disasters going with shale oil down off the African coast, has allowed Israel to commit countless crimes against Palestine, defended body scans and pat-downs at the airports, an intrusion into your personal liberty, the 4th and 5th Amendments, doubled secret U.S. no-fly list in the past year to over 21,000 no-fly lists. Over 21,000 U.S. citizens have been refused re-entry into the United States. 21,000 U.S. citizens. Man, without a trial, without a hearing. The Obama administration deported a record 400,000 undocumented immigrants last year, far more than the Bush did in 8 years. And get this, if your food isn't poisoned enough, Obama appointed former Monsanto Vice President and lobbyist Michael Taylor as Senior Advisor to the Food and Drug Administration Commissioner. This is coupled with numerous revolving door appointments at FDA, Federal Drug Administration, and the Department of Agriculture, perpetuating a dangerous corporate culture in the midst of our food production and distribution cycle. I mean, that's another issue, how this country is so evil. It has promoted a death culture for the pharmaceutical, drug, and oil industries. Now, here's what's really going to get you. Here's 5 full pages in small type of the 83% of the United States of America's vetoes at the UN from 1972 to 2011. They were in the support, these vetoes, 83% were in support of apartheid and or Zionism. They have the year of all the vetoes, starting in 1972 and ending in 2011. Folks, we're in big trouble. And the vast majority of American citizens don't even care about their own constitution. No one's marching in support of the Constitution. One man mentions it in this latest election cycle. His name is Ron Paul. The corporate news media is belittling him, both in print, on TV, and the radio, and by satellite. It's unconscionable. Anyone who doesn't vote for Ron Paul is politically brain dead, is bereft of any thoughts of being free. Ron Paul, the only one talking about the Constitution. You've got to be, if you're not for the Constitution of the United States, you're not a patriot. You can vote all you want for the rest of the Republican and Democratic candidates, and none of them are talking about the Constitution. If you cherish your freedom, your future, your children's future, your unborn generation's future, you better vote for Ron Paul. You tell me what's wrong with human beings getting together and organizing. Because Republicans are against that. They're against unions. If they are against unions, then they should be against Christianity. They should be against, and we know they're against other religions. But Christianity is organizing. You see how ridiculous America has become? I'm not going to apologize, because evidently it's not getting across. But whatever, maybe one or two of you listen and wake up, and that might build into some kind of responsibility. But I love this land. It's in my DNA. Doksha Ake. I hope to see you again.